Hey guys, so we're taking a little break from the Unimog project because I have something else going on. I finally got the opportunity to buy my dream car. This is something I've wanted ever since I was a kid and found out what these things were. And you've already seen the title and the thumbnail, so you know it's a military Humvee. Now the problem is, I'm in Europe, more specifically Denmark, and we just don't do Humvees here. The military did buy a few of these, initially as tow launchers. They were later repurposed for special forces units and recon units, but they've long gone out of service. And there is just a handful of civilian-owned Humvees in the country. But I didn't want something that someone else had already been playing around with. I wanted something that was as straight out of the American Armed Forces as possible, because I just like that stuff. Now, I have been sort of background casually researching and keeping an eye on the Humvee market and the Humvee community that it has become. So I kind of had a good idea of where to go. So I found a company in the Netherlands called Thijs Trading. Now, he specializes in Humvees and importing them to Europe. Now the thing about Humvees is you can't just export them like any other old American car. For some reason they are classified as fighting vehicles, just like tanks and missile launchers and whatnot. So you need to work your way around that and know what you're doing, otherwise there's a good chance it'll just be seized by customs. That's why I'm working with someone like Thijs. So I basically wrote to him saying, I would like to buy a basic M1038. I have this much money, what do you have? And pretty soon he got back to me saying he didn't have an M1038. But he did have this. This was an M1038, which is basically the same truck that was sitting in the harbor of Savannah, Georgia, waiting to get shipped out to the Netherlands. And he asked if that was something I would be interested in, and I pretty much just said, yes, please. Now, this was back in the summer, and I haven't seen it since, and due to all the international freight being kind of messy this year, it's been delayed a little, but now the time has come. So we're taking this old MAN to the Netherlands. So we're just gonna bring that in and just go over it, make sure everything's alright, and head out. Right, we got the trailer hooked up. We brought a whole bunch of extra tools and spares just in case. We got just over 600 kilometers, so let's roll. So I wasn't really bothered to film the entire drive down here because it's really not all that interesting. It's just us driving. But we made it to the Netherlands. We've been staying at this nice little hotel here. It's a little cold this morning, so go ahead and do a little cold start of the old MAN and go and take a look at this thing. Alright, so I think we found the right place, because this is more Humvees in one spot than I've seen in probably my entire life. So Thijs specializes in Humvees. He does everything from just basic running trucks to completely restored ones. He even does some contract work for the US military. This particular slantback is still in active service with the US Air Force, and it'll be going back to the base in Germany when he's done with it. He also has a ton of all the really good parts. Hard doors, hard tops, the Ibis Tech bumpers, slant backs, turrets and turret roofs, even complete bodies, and much more. But this is what we came for. This here is my Humvee. Just did the math and it's a little too heavy for this trailer, so we're gonna take the wheels off and put them on the truck just to be on the safe side. Alright, so Humvee's getting all tied down. We took the wheels off, put them on the truck, because we have plenty of load capacity left on that and not so much left on the trailer because Europe. But this is a much better setup. It'll also help a little bringing the center of gravity down, and it's not going to bounce around on the wheels, so this is going to be a lot more stable to drive with, so I think this was the right call. So finally, we're all loaded up, ready to go. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Want to say a big thanks to Thijs and the rest of the crew at Thijs Trading. Definitely worth getting a hold of if you are in Europe looking to buy a Humvee or specific parts for one. I'll leave a link to them in the description below, so check them out. So we finally made it back to my place pretty late last night. And I really can't quite believe that I finally have one of these trucks here. I just gotta say how impressed I am with this old MAN. I mean, this is an off-road truck from the 80s, and we just took it on a 1,300 kilometer road trip. Half of that with a pretty decent load on it. And this thing is running at really high RPM because it's geared so low, but it just didn't care. It just ran flawlessly. No temperature fluctuations, no electrical issues, no driveline issues, nothing. Now we gotta get the wheels down, and we have to figure out a way to lift this up and put them back on, because I don't have a forklift that can pick this whole thing up, so it's gonna be a little more manual. Alright guys, it just won't stop raining outside, so I went and brought it inside. Sorry about the lighting in here, but it will have to do. So anyway, let's take a look at what I actually got here. This is a Humvee M1038. That means it's a cargo or troop transporter with a winch. It's from 1989, meaning it's an early series vehicle, so it's powered by the 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 diesel, and that's coupled up to a 3-speed 3L80 automatic transmission. Now this is a winch truck, but as some of you may have already noticed, there's no winch in there. Now this was removed before it even left America. Thijs did make me aware of this, that it was missing. I told him not a big deal, I'll find something else to put in there, no worries. But he did go ahead and put this brush guard on it. I'm really happy that he did, because I absolutely love this type of brush guard. It looks so good on these. It may not be the strongest, it's actually kind of flimsy for such a big truck, but I just really like the look of this. This is something I would have gone out and got anyways. I'm really happy that he put that on there. Also, the hood is in really good shape. It does have one little crack up here. That's not really something to be worried about. They can be a lot worse. Sometimes they'll have entire corners missing, but this one is really good overall. And the tires, I did fear that they would be really old and dry rotted, but these all look really good. They're all date marked 2008, so they're not new, but they're in really good shape. It is a two-door with the soft doors. They're in pretty good shape and with pretty clear windows. Sometimes they can be all matte and near impossible to see through. There's no holes or tears and they work. I mean, it's a simple soft door, nothing special. I might get some hard X doors for it just because I think that looks really cool, but that's a project for another day. And it has a regular two-man soft top. It has the side rails and bench seats back here, all looks in pretty good shape. But because I'm registering this as a pickup, I will not be allowed to use the bench seats. But I think I can get away with leaving them in because as long as there's no seat belts, it's not really going to be counted in as seats anyway. It does have the AM General Stamp tailgate. That just looks really good. Now the floor in here looks really good. There's no big holes or dents in this. It is just aluminium, or I guess it's aluminum since it's an American car. But it's really easy to put some big marks in this when you're just throwing stuff in the back. But this is all nice and straight and looking really good. The only thing is I'm missing the little cover plate that goes over the tank over here, but that's really easy to make. It's just a piece of aluminum that's just bent to fit the shape of the floor. The underside of it is looking really good as well. It's all very rust free and it's recently been serviced with new ball joints and tie rods and whatnot. Only thing is the rear brake pads, they're about at the end of their life, but that's really all I found. The inside is also looking very clean and in very good shape. It does have just the cushion seats. I might replace those for some high backs at some point, but these are fine for now. The mileage says 36,600, so that's just around 59,000 kilometers. They do change these out, but given the overall condition of the truck, that does seem about right. Have a quick look at the engine bay here. The engine looks very clean. There's no oil spills. It's not covered in all kinds of snot. The injection pump was bad, Thijs told me. They put a new one on there and they put a new glow plugs in it, cleaned out the injectors and just made sure everything is good. The cooling pack is looking really nice on these. Often they look like someone's been dancing all over these. They're full of holes and dents and whatnot. But these actually look really good. Only very little surface damage to this. So yeah, all in all, it looks to be a really nice solid unit with not too bad wear on it. It can be a bit of a gamble with these surplus trucks, and of course Thijs did some work to it as well. But all in all, I'm just really happy with what I got. I actually find it pretty neat that I now have both of these Cold War enemies. Maybe we should do some kind of comparison between these two at some point. What do you say? Now there is one thing that I know people are going to be asking, and that's the price. Now I generally don't talk about the price of my vehicles because typically it's not going to be relevant and it'll be different depending on where in the world you are. Now what I can tell you is how much I paid Thijs for this vehicle. The agreed price was 25,000 euros. Now that included the price of the truck in the US and shipping it to the Netherlands, and whatever taxes and tolls came with that. It included all the repairs he had to do to make it roadworthy and make it a running truck, and having it tested and registered in the Netherlands. But typically 22 to 25,000 euros is gonna be the bottom end price for a reasonable and running basic truck in Europe. But I'm not done spending on this yet. First of all, I have to buy some different lights for it to actually make it legal here. Then I have to pay for a data declaration, and then I have to pay for an inspection, and then I have to pay an unknown but probably quite hefty registration tax. And then I can finally pay to have my license plates. But since the holidays are coming up and all of this is already a pretty slow process, I suspect it's going to be a couple of months before this is all done. I'm not going to be dragging this video out for that long. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next year. Happy holidays.